Hello and welcome to SatoshiConomy, honest global crypto news and info. Where does money come from? That's the topic for today. Today's Monday, May 20th, 2019. Bitcoin has been pretty steady today, in between 77, a little under that, 7,700 per, and about 8,200 as we speak. It's a shade under 8,000. I don't know if you can see back here, there's a couple of Canadian geese that are watching us, and mom and pop, they got a couple of chicks. Yeah, it's probably too far away for you to see, but we are being watched by them. I came out here in nature just to, we got to do this once in a while just to step out and get some fresh air and go on an adventure, see what you can find. Of course, so many times you just never know what you're going to find, but this is a place I haven't been to for a while, and I really, really love it. It's a slow rolling creek right here, but way down about a half mile up, it's just a rushing creek, and the waters here have just settled a little bit. It's very, very calm. And one of my favorite things to do is just to get out in nature where it's, what I say, so quiet that it's loud. And in doing this by habit, what I found is that, I live in a city, and when I go to find these quiet places, when there's trees for about a mile's worth, then that practically dampens all of the sound from the highway or the freeway. And you may hear a little bit of the din in the background of the highway. We're a little less than a mile away from the highway. But where does money come from? As a kid, I grew up, and I was taught about money. My dad, when he taught me about money, one of the biggest things he taught me was keep track of it so that you can have control over it. He did very, very well for himself, and he was a money manager, but that was just kind of a part of one of his chores or one of his tasks in the industry he worked in. But that's one thing that I've carried with me, is that if you watch your pennies, your dollars take care of themselves. And not that should be a limited mentality or a small thinking, but it's really, really true that when you take care of what you have, if you watch your pennies, your dollars take care of themselves, then you're much more able to grow a pile of money for you to invest in, or for you to start a company, or to give away, to give to the world. And today, what I want to talk about is, where does money come from? And money comes from your time and your talent. Now, that is a notion that you won't hear very much from the economic textbooks or old school economists, but it's really, really true. When you develop a talent to a form of excellence, it has value, and then you can profit from that. And the goal is to profit from that without that much time, or less and less time invested in it. To me, time is the most valuable thing. And the reason why I do SatoshiConomy is, well, let me say it this way. I have more than what I've ever dreamt of. And the reason why I discuss the topics that I do is to share to people to take care of what you have, because this world that we live in is very, very, very worthwhile. And it's very, very worthy of us enjoying it. And when we take care of our money, we have more time to be able to enjoy it, simply put. That's hard to argue with. And I just want to appeal to people to wake up and to listen, or at least to consider listening to contrarian thought. In our day and age, we have so much more data and information, and that's out there for us to be able to digest. I heard today that there's over 1 billion hours of video on YouTube per day. That is just amazing. And so I'm just a part of it, and I just appeal to you to consider. It's so much more important, I believe, in this day and age as compared to even 5-10 years ago, for us to take care of what we have, because we're being taxed. Our time is being taxed. our money is being taxed. We've got taxes everywhere. And I mean, for example, earlier this evening I went to the store and there's some oil there, and it said buy this gallon and it's $3 off, and it said $23.99. So they were saying it was $20.99. So I get up to the register, and I didn't say anything. I wanted to see. Rings it up, $25.99. And I said, excuse me, sir, it's $20.99. And we walk back, and sure enough, just like I said, it was marked $23.99, and there was a big old sign there saying buy a gallon and you get $3 off. So this sort of thing used to happen rarely, and it's a sad commentary. But you know what? Before he rung it up, I knew it. I just knew it was going to happen. It happens more times than not, and it's like kind of baiting. I mean, that's, to me, it's not excusable. Well, not very much anyway. I mean, what I'm saying is it happens way too often for it to be a mistake. Can we just be real here? So, but that's just one itsy bitsy teeny weeny little example of what's going on here. When we think of where money comes from, I mean, as a kid, I knew it came from my talent in my time. I grew up in the northern climes, and I would shovel snow, and in the summers I'd mow lawns, and I'd make some money there. And when I bring the money down to the bank, sometimes I go down with my dad. He taught me some things about money, but he didn't teach me really where it comes from. And I just figured, well, if I put $100 in the bank, and I see all these other customers in line, and they're bringing their money in, that the bank keeps all that money, and that's all the money that there is. It's all in greenbacks. And lo and behold, it is really not like that at all. We live in a fractional reserve lending debt-based economy. And what that means is that basically, I'm going to shoot from the hip here, just kind of share some things that I've read that I believe is consensus. I don't just read one thing. And when I find that that's the major theme, or you hear the same thing from 10 or 20 or even 100 different sources, that there's something that rises to the surface when we do research like that, and it's something that's called consensus. And it can really become a widely accepted practice or truth or ideology or something that's well known as what's really going on, or the reality. And the way America is set up is that through it's been for over 115 years or thereabouts, 105 years, that ever since the Federal Reserve was voted, that basically these it's not federal and it's not a reserve, but what it is a banking system of a small group of bankers that was set up in collaboration with government officials who would take care of the legal or the rules or the laws of the land, and they would collaborate together. And the fractional reserve lending term comes from, basically it's this, that a bank, all the banks emanate in the U.S., they emanate from the Federal Reserve, and then the member banks beneath them are associated, and then they get funds, and it kind of trickles down through certain banks. But the largest bank in America is J.P. Morgan. We know U.S. Bank is up there, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. There's Chase. That might be with J.P. Morgan Chase. But anyway, the point is that these banks, I didn't even know this until about 2007 or thereabouts, 2006, that a bank can have $1,000 in their coffers or on their actual money, $1,000, and they can lend out 10 times that. So the money is distributed out in that way, and so the long and short of it is that money is created as debt, and it's an incredible notion to think about that debt can have value. But that's the world we live in right now, that debt is being sold, and right now the world has over $1 quadrillion of debt. And I just want to just pass on you a few things from the heart that let's take care of this world. Let's take care of our families, the people who we care for, the people who care for us. Let's consider contrarian thought. Let's be awake and find out what's going on behind the scenes. Let's understand and realize, just for example, a simple thing like, where does money come from? I'll have more on that later. I'll stack your show notes with some pertinent references that I've found to be excellent sources. And I just want to encourage you to step out and get some exercise and breathe deep and go for an adventure and do well with your money. And until next time, peace.